Hello, this is the footage from Ground Zero of the World Trade Center buildings. This is about 2.5 weeks. I say later in the video 3 weeks, but that footage has been lost. This starts out with a map marking the filming spots with green arrows at 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Naming of the streets. Well, this is 9/11. This is Ground Zero where the World Trade Centers went down. This particular shot that we're seeing right now is Fulton Street and Broadway. That's the number 5 Trade Center building. That one actually had the fuselage from the number 2 building, the South Tower, hit on top of that and created a hell of a fire. Burned quite a bit of that out. Now this shot here is from Day Street and Broadway. That's also part of the number 5 building. It's up a little bit more. That little dome thing down in the corner, left corner of your screen there, is the the Winter Garden, which when the North Tower was there, you wouldn't be able to see that. But you know, once that was gone, I mean, you can see that as clear as day there. A lot of that, once again, the fuselage hit on there. A lot of rubble. It just burned everything out. It was a very eerie sight. You've seen a lot of debris laying around. I could have swore I seen shadows walking around in there. I mean, who knows? Maybe somebody was in there. A lot of flags around. The church that was up on Fulton Street and stuff, there was a lot of memorial stuff there, a lot of pictures, a lot of flowers. I mean, a lot of it was very sad to look at. You know, it was hard to believe two buildings fell down, kind of wiped everything out. You see a lot of twisted metal there. You know, who would think, you know, a couple of airplanes could do that kind of damage? I mean, these buildings were actually designed to withstand an airplane hitting them when they designed and engineered them. One of the things that a lot of people don't know is Japan got all the steel for this. Bethlehem Steel in Bethlehem, PA, bid it on the job. They didn't give it to them, so they did use an inferior steel to build these buildings. That could have played a huge part in this. I mean, some of them said the design was bad, so on and so forth. But once again, this is the number 5 building. This is another shot. Once again, down in the lower corner, you can see the Winter Garden. If you ever look at some of the bigger pictures of that whole area, the whole section there, you would see the Winter Garden is a beautiful green dome type building, and it's quite something to see off of the West Street. You can see a lot of that, or if you see a lot of aerial photos. Once again, a lot of twisted metal hanging down. They really didn't have too much utilities down there. They were cutting a lot of the utility lines, gas, electric, just about everything. They still had fires underground down there they couldn't put out. They couldn't figure out what was going on, so they just started going in a 4-block radius, started cutting lines. We were talking to a lot of the city engineers and stuff. A lot of jackhammering going on, a lot of noise, you know. A lot of people down there. They had a lot of National Guardsmen were down in that area. I did a job in the North Tower almost a year before this happened, and the security and stuff was just overwhelming. I was in the North Tower, the one that they tried to bomb the first time, and you know, you had a drawbridge, you had to go in, the Port Authority took your driver's license, and you said to yourself, you know, this, I don't think this will ever happen again. And who would think that next year they would fly 2 planes into these buildings and just absolutely torch and burn them up. You've seen a lot of trucks driving around hauling debris away. This is only about 3 weeks after it happened. It was something that they got to set up so much with the construction and the crews and very organized. That is actually the World Trade Center, the South Tower, right where that flag is there. Coming up a little bit in the video, you'll see a little bit better of shot of that, but that's the flag kind of in a memorial of that. A lot of heavy equipment riding around. Like I said, a lot of noise. You weren't really allowed down there after dark, so we kind of got out of there because they said you could get shot on sight. Now we're down, this is on Liberty Street. This is the World Trade Center. This is the number 4 building, which a lot of the number 2 building, the South building, fell on this. A lot of the debris hit, twisted a lot of it up. I'm sure there were some fires involved in that also. But as you can see, it's really twisted up there. A lot of cranes down there just pulling stuff out, digging stuff out. I think they were still looking for some people down there. They still had dogs and stuff down there. I know we did see some. I didn't get a lot of this on camera. It was kind of limited. There was a lot of crowds there, a lot of noise going on. I mean, you kind of had to just kind of move with everybody going there. But, now we're on Rector Street, and this is Washington. And as you can see, that's the South Tower, the World Trade Center, the #2 building. You can see it's just pretty much a skeleton. A lot of jackhammering. I think there was about 3, 4, it looks like about 5 or 6 stories were left. That was just basically a shell. There was nothing. If you were to go to the left on Rector Street, actually the landing gear was laying right down on the end of the road there, right by West Street. And a lot of people didn't even know that. I know I didn't know that till stuff I looked up on this later. But, they were watering down a lot of stuff, keep debris down. There was a lot of cement dust. I'm sure there was probably asbestos and stuff down there. I mean, that was stuff was all built in the 60s and early 70s. A lot of people were down there just interested. Rector and Washington Street, they had a lot of stuff set up. Now we're coming up on West Street, and that is the North Tower. It fell over. It pretty much took out the Trade Center #6 and #7 building. It fell back on. That's actually 3 buildings there. There was hardly anything left of anything there. A lot of dust. I mean, you can see there was trucks everywhere. It was really hard to get around even down there. It was starting to get dark, so we were getting a little nervous saying, hey, we got to get out of here. But something to see.